Hi everyone! It's cherry blossom or sakura season in Japan, so I'm going to show you how I made this hanami bento or flower viewing bento. For the Inarizushi, I rehydrated the dried shiitake in hot water for about 20 minutes. In the meantime, I prepared this simmering sauce. Then after the 20 minutes were done, I cut up the shiitake into small pieces along with some hydrated kombu that was soaking overnight. Then I put all of that together in a pan and simmered it for about 5 minutes or until most of the liquid was gone, and then just let that cook for a bit more. Then I deshelled some cooked edamame, and look at the momentum on those when you pop them, pretty wild. Then I also just sliced some carrots and cut them up into flower shapes like this by cutting little triangles into it and then cutting off those sharp edges. You can see the proportions I used for the sushi rice on screen, and I also used some pre-bought Inarizushi pouches from the supermarket. I just fill those up with rice and then top them with my simmered shiitake topping, edamame, and carrot slice. For the caprese skewers, I made my own mozzarella cheese, but I did not make that recipe, so you can find a link to that in the description below. I did make the mistake of putting in a teaspoon of sesame oil that I thought was apple cider vinegar, so I was very scared that the cheese would taste terrible because of that, but it actually turned out pretty okay, and it gave it that like Asian fusion flavor, I guess, which is the whole theme of this channel, right? And then I just made a simple balsamic glaze and assembled the skewer with half a cherry tomato, the cheese, a basil leaf, tomato, and some of that glaze. For the sakuramochi, I used a recipe you can find below. I used shiso instead of cherry blossom leaves, which is what you're supposed to use, but I couldn't find that anywhere. The little sakura that's used from the sakura tea to decorate with, that's not usually part of the recipe, but I wanted to add it in to be a little extra. By the way, do not try those alone. They're like pickled. They're the saltiest thing you'll ever taste. They look yummy, cute, and delicious, but they are not very good at all, so do not eat it. Or if you do, eat it at your own risk, but I do not recommend it. The food coloring was also way too strong, so I have some very neon pink sakuramochi, but wabi-sabi, right? For the pickled cabbage, I used about 1/4 of a sheet of kombu and 1/4 of a cabbage that I had left over and cut it up into thin strips. Then I put it into a bowl and massaged the salt and sugar into it and waited for about 15 minutes. Then I massaged in the vinegar and it was done. Of course, you can always adjust everything based on your taste. I finished off with a very simple miso soup of the carrot slices that I had left over, the last shiitake mushroom that I rehydrated, and some tofu. Then I put it all together in my bento.